you so much. So we have a, let's see. So here's one from, I don't think there's any way I can say this correctly. Ermias Gidlu wrote in and said, so they actually asked two questions. I'm going to read them both to you, Corey. You can, respond to either or. So one says, what happened to the information Bones submitted to the SSP concerning the Dark Fleet? Can you share details of what you know about the Dark Fleet? Although I know you've already touched on the Dark Fleet today. And then the second one was, can you share more of what you know about these Zulu-looking people that were the only ones unable to be conquered by the Draco?
Well, I already shared the first one. But yeah, the Zulu are they're a tall, skinny, beautiful African-looking race. And they're a shamanic race. They never developed high technology. They do have technology, but it's mostly consciousness-based technology like the Anshar, except they are much further along than even the Anshar. When our star system, they're an ancient group too. When our star system, when like 500,000 years ago or so, when we had this grid system protecting it from invasion from all of the genetic farmer groups, when that went down, all of these genetic farmer groups started just coming into the local 52 stars and hitting all of the star systems and, beginning to manipulate them and add them into their grand experiment. But the one group that they could not approach even was this Zulu group. And their planet, at first, they were able to make it hidden. They're able to hide the planet from the beings. And then when the beings got in closer and knew about the planet and detected it, they were able to use their high consciousness to affect the consciousness of beings in craft, reptilians, all these different types of craft that, from outside of the local 52 star clusters were, trying to get into the star system, and they never could. There was some sort of mind game, or they would find themselves all of a sudden in a different location and didn't know how they got there. It was like beyond magical. And we started finding out more and more by interviewing indigenous peoples that a lot of indigenous peoples and regular people like us, are in constant communion with this group through dreams. And at night, they come in and they raise our vibration through dreams. And mainly that's what they do. They do these beautiful like dances with stomping and, and all of these real cool movements, wearing feathers and paint and all of that. And it flows and it's very beautiful. But they fight the negative side without fighting, if that makes sense. They'll pop in here, give us information, that will help us deal with the enemy, but they're not going to give us weapons, or they're not going to come in and fight directly themselves. I wouldn't call them pacifists, because they've done things that have caused, their enemies to be pulled into different areas, and bad things happened to them once they were there, in extreme situations. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, they find they're just so mentally advanced and spiritually advanced that they can't be invaded, they can't be attacked. Even these highly advanced spiritually and mentally negative beings have been unable to really do battle with them. So they've been in a protected star system in our local 52 star cluster, and they've been doing what they can to help us expand our consciousness and to grow spiritually, and to learn to live in balance with our planetary systems as a way to overcome the negative, because they understand that it's all consciousness anyway, and it's only through the shift in consciousness that you shake off all of the negativity.
I like them. So the name Zulu, is that something that, is that what they're called in the programs? Is that something you
Yeah.
coined them, or is that from them?
I'd heard them called a few different things. I can't remember. I always, um, because I was born in the 70s, I think in the 80s, there was a movie that came out called Shaka Zulu. It's about the Zulu,
Uh,
the history of the
yeah.
Zulu tribe, and it was real big on television in the US. My family watched it, and the the look kind of the people reminded me of that. So I started calling them Zulu.
Do you know what they're classified as or what they call themselves? Do you remember that?
We have a hexadecimal representation of who they are. There are nicknames that the different groups have for them. We don't even know what they call themselves
Gotcha.
that I'm aware of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Awesome. So Corey, we're